Hey everybody, it's Chris and Des Show. I'm Chris.
And I'm Des.
And today we're going to talk to you about the film Snowden, directed by Oliver Stone, which is in theaters now. Des, what do you think?
Okay, so Snowden is this gentleman who found out that the government was kind of using technology and spy on us. It's a real life story about a real guy. And this movie is a little... Okay, here's what I needed. I needed less details, maybe, and more streamlined of what was going on in the story. Where are you taking me? Take me there. Because it was interesting. It was absolutely interesting. And the fact that it was a true life story was very interesting. But I found myself kind of looking at my watch and was like, are we done yet? What's happening? It just was too slow for me. That's all. And maybe that's me, but it felt enough like a documentary that it needed to go ahead and get to the end or skip over some of them. What did you think?
Yeah, it just needs to be edited differently.
I just needed
Oliver Stone is known for having longer movies, right? He definitely is a conspiracy-based person. He loves conspiracies.
He would love this then, yeah.
Well, he does this kind of like,
it's his thing.
Yeah, give me the story about this guy. I can see that. And Oliver Stone's a good director. But it's too long, cut, edit.
It was interesting. It was real interesting. But there's this long, like, he does the Rubik's Cube thing. And then it's this long walk. And we see him walk down the hallway. I don't need to see him walk down the hallway. I need to see him show up at the thing.
It was just too much. And Des is right about the details part, is that's fine if you're into technology stuff and you want to sit there and listen to that. That's great. But most people who go to see a movie don't want to see that. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was fine. He's a good actor. It's funny, we talked about the end part where they had the real Edward Snowden come out. Des liked that part to see him, and I didn't like that part because for the acting, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's acting, his voice, he was very different than Joseph Gordon-Levitt's normal voice. And so I thought, he's mimicking Edward Snowden's voice. And then Edward Snowden speaks, I'm like, wait, what voice was Joseph Gordon-Levitt using? Because he does have a lower voice than Joseph Gordon-Levitt does, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt lowered his voice even lower than Edward Snowden's voice is. And so I'm used to Kate Winslet and Meryl Streep, who can mimic any human being's voice with their eyes closed, right? Just like, got it, done. I got it. And it just was off for me. So seeing him made me think like, wow.
Seeing the real guy.
Yeah, the acting was different. And it took me out of the movie.
Yeah, well, it did that, absolutely.
It's like, here we are. This guy, this Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Snowden. Oh, no, just kidding. He's not Snowden. Like, well, then what was the point of the 2 hours you just spent watching this movie?
I did like the fact that, this is a real life story. And then at the end, it was like, and here's the real guy. See, this is him. And we're not just doing this story in spite of him. Here he is, actually.
But can I tell you that almost any really good true story doesn't have the real person in it?
Well, no, he wasn't in it.
Well,
they just showed him at the end.
No, he spoke, and he was.
Can speak, no, he was part of the story.
Yeah, he was. Remember, it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt sat down, and then when you came back around, it was him talking.
Oh,
he finished the scene for him.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that takes you totally out of it.
Yeah, I was already so far out of it.
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
It didn't matter.
So
it didn't matter to me.
It's not a horrible film by any means. It's not horrible. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's a good actor, and Shailene Woodley's a good actor, Melissa Leo and Zachary Quinto and Tom Wilkinson. And the guy who played his friend, Nicolas Cage, was actually really good in it also.
Oh, yeah, he was really good.
And
that was the perfect role for Nicolas Cage. It was just enough. It was pretty small, but he was very effective in that spot.
Yes, and Scott Eastwood was good. And Keith Stanfield, who played his friend, who they do sign language to each other, was very good. I liked him a lot.
He was really good.
He's barely in it, though, of course. So, it was just hard for me to see that guy at the end. That took me out of it. And I was trying to get in it.
Yeah.
But you're right. You could have easily got out of it way earlier because it just felt long.
Yeah.
So, if you like that story, it's good to go see.
Yeah.
If you're like, I want to be entertained for 2 hours, it's probably not the film to see.
And if you're interested in it, I would go rent it. There's no reason to go to the theater for this show.
Because there's so many good movies out right now. So we would say rent.
Rent it.
Sorry, Oliver Stone.
Bye.